You've spent so much energy trying to be what a man wanted that you lost sight of your own dreams, desires, and happiness. How can you expect someone to cherish what you don't even value? Stop pouring from an empty cup and wondering why you're left thirsty. I'm Vernon. Today, I'll walk you through 5 truths women often forget when they feel ignored, ghosted, or left behind. But when you remember them, something shifts in you and in him. These aren't manipulation tactics or games. They're truths about human nature that, once understood, change how you move through the world. Why do some women become unforgettable while others fade into "you are past" like morning mist? The answer isn't what you think. If you're ready to reclaim the quiet power you've always had, the kind that makes people miss you without you having to remind them, then take a moment to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Because at 60 and beyond, you deserve insights about love, dating, and relationships that honor the wisdom you've earned, not the games you've outgrown. Now, let's begin with the first truth, and it's one that changes everything.
Number 1, you were whole before he noticed you. You existed in full color before he ever painted himself into your picture. I know how easy it is to lose this perspective. When someone's attention feels like sunlight, their absence can feel like winter. But here's the psychological truth most people miss. A woman's completeness isn't something that gets turned on and off by someone else's presence. It's a constant. It was there before he arrived, it remained while he was there, and it's still there now. Think about who you were the day before you met him. Your laugh, your dreams, your way of seeing the world. None of that was borrowed from him. None of that belonged to him. And none of that disappeared when he did. Men are drawn to women who carry this knowing in their bones. There's something magnetic about a person who doesn't need to be chosen to feel worthy of being chosen. It's not arrogance, it's alignment. It's the quiet confidence that comes from understanding your own value doesn't fluctuate based on someone else's recognition of it. When you remember this, really remember it, not just think it, your entire energy shifts. You stop reaching, you stop explaining, you stop trying to convince someone of what you already know to be true. And that shift, men feel it immediately, even from a distance. As Glennon Doyle once put it, you are not a failure just because someone couldn't love you. You are not broken. You are whole. Always were. And she's right. You were whole before he ever knew your name. In the comments below, share one thing about yourself that existed before any man ever noticed you. A talent, a dream, a way you see beauty in the world. Let's remind each other that we were never half people waiting to be completed. And once you remember that, you'll also stop doing something just as harmful.
Number 2. Needing him to miss you only pushes him away. As Bill Jameson once put it, relationships are like sand held in an open hand. If you squeeze too tight, it slips away. That's exactly what happens when you try to force someone to miss you. Your energy starts pushing instead of pulling. Desperation has a scent, and it's not attractive to anyone, including yourself. When we feel someone pulling away, our instinct is to pull them back.
We send longer texts. We become more available. We try to remind them of all the reasons they should miss us. But here's the paradox. The more you try to create longing in someone else, the less space you leave for authentic longing to exist. Missing someone is a natural response to absence, but only when that absence feels chosen, not imposed. When you're constantly reaching out, checking in, or trying to stay relevant in someone's thoughts, you're not giving them the gift of missing you. You're robbing them of it. I've watched women torture themselves trying to engineer someone else's emotions. They analyze response times, craft perfect messages, and measure their worth by how quickly someone replies. But here's what they don't realize. Authentic connection can't be manufactured. It can only be invited. The moment you release your grip on the outcome, the moment you stop needing him to miss you, you create space for something real to return. Because now your energy isn't tangled up in manipulation or need. It's free. And free energy is what people remember long after forced energy has been forgotten. This doesn't mean you become cold or indifferent. It means you become genuine. You respond when you feel like responding. You reach out when it feels natural. You live your life not as a strategy to make someone miss you, but as an expression of who you are when no one's watching. When you stop needing control, something else rises in you, something he can feel from a distance. But it's not just about what you stop doing, it's about what you start valuing again. Your time, your presence, your energy.
Number 3. Men miss what feels rare, not what feels available 24/7. Women often forget that value and scarcity have always been connected. Not because you're playing games, but because your time, energy, and attention are precious resources, and they should be treated as such. My sister Elena came to me years ago, heartbroken because the man she'd been seeing had grown distant. She was always available when he called, always understanding when he canceled, always ready to adjust her schedule to fit his. She thought she was being loving, but what she was really being was so abundant she started to lose her own worth. Never make someone a priority when all you are to them is an option, Maya Angelou once said. Elena slowly began to reclaim her time, not as a game, but as a form of self-respect. She started saying no to last-minute plans. She stopped dropping everything when he reached out. She remembered she had a life, friends, and interests that existed independently of him. She wasn't trying to make him miss her. She was protecting her own peace. Within weeks, everything changed. He began reaching out more intentionally, making actual plans, showing up differently, because suddenly access to her wasn't guaranteed. It was earned. This isn't about playing hard to get. It's about being hard to get, because your time matters, your energy is finite, and your presence is a gift, not a given. When you're always available, emotionally, physically, energetically, you stop being special. Not because there's anything wrong with you, but because human psychology values what feels rare. We treasure what we can't take for granted. Your availability should reflect your self-respect, not your desperation for someone's attention. Still, your presence isn't just about availability. It's about how you treat yourself when no one is watching.
Number 4. Respecting yourself silently is louder than any text. Dignity is not something you declare, it's something you embody, and it speaks louder than any words you could ever type. Self-respect is not a conversation, it's a way of being. When someone treats you with less care than you deserve, your instinct might be to explain why that's not okay, to send the long text about your worth, to have the conversation about how their behavior affects you. But here's what I've learned. People who don't see your value aren't suddenly going to understand it because you've explained it clearly. Respecting yourself silently through your actions, your boundaries, your choices creates a kind of echo that reaches people in ways words never could. When you stop accepting crumbs, you don't have to announce that you're starving. When you stop tolerating disrespect, you don't have to explain why you deserve better. Your behavior becomes the message. There's something profoundly powerful about a woman who doesn't need to argue for her worth, who doesn't send paragraphs about how she should be treated, who simply treats herself with the care she wishes to receive from others. That energy, that quiet, unshakable knowing, is what haunts people long after they've dismissed others. Men remember women who walked away without explanation more than women who stayed and explained everything. Not because cruelty is attractive, but because self-respect is magnetic. It suggests a kind of inner authority that can't be shaken by someone else's poor behavior. Your silence, when it comes from a place of self-honor rather than punishment, carries more weight than 1,000 words ever could. It says, I know who I am. I know what I deserve, and I don't need you to agree with me for it to be true. Now share this with a friend who's forgotten how complete she already is. And finally, there's one thing women often forget, but when they reclaim it, men feel the shift immediately.
Number 5. Your energy is the real message, not your words. How you carry yourself through the world, how you protect your peace, nurture your joy, and move through your days, that's what people remember. Not the clever things you said, not the perfect responses you crafted. Your energy. Energy doesn't lie. It can't be faked or filtered or carefully edited before it's sent. It's the truest communication we have, and it travels farther than any text message ever could. When you're anxious about someone missing you, that anxiety lives in your energy. When you're trying to control an outcome, that desperation seeps into everything you do. But when you're genuinely at peace, when you're living your life not as a strategy to win someone back, but as an expression of who you are, that peace becomes magnetic. I've seen women transform their entire reality simply by changing how they inhabit their own lives. Instead of living in a state of waiting, they start living in a state of being. Instead of measuring their days by someone else's attention, they fill their days with things that bring them alive. And men notice. They feel the shift even when they can't name it. Because suddenly, you're not the woman who's waiting for him to call. You're the woman who has a full life, and he might be lucky enough to be part of it. Your energy when you're laughing with friends, pursuing something you love, or simply enjoying your own company, that's what echoes in someone's memory. That's what makes them wonder what you're doing, who you're with, how you're feeling. Not because you've made them wonder, but because wonder is the natural response to someone who's genuinely wonderful to be around. It's been said, and often attributed to Einstein, that everything is energy and that's all there is to it. And when you start living from that truth, when your presence, not your pressure, becomes your message, people feel it. That's what lingers. That's what they remember. Save this video to remind yourself that your energy is your message, and it's always broadcasting exactly who you are.
So here we are. You've rediscovered 5 quiet but powerful truths. You were complete before anyone noticed you, and you remain complete now. You don't have to chase longing. It finds its own way back when you create space for it. Your time and attention are precious resources that shouldn't be available to just anyone. Your self-respect speaks louder than any explanation ever could. And your energy, how you actually live your life, is the real message you're sending to the world. These aren't tactics to manipulate someone into missing you. They're truths about how to live in alignment with your own worth. And when you do that, when you remember these things and let them guide how you move through the world, something shifts. Not just in how others see you, but in how you see yourself. When a man forgets your worth, you don't have to convince him. You don't have to explain it or argue for it or prove it. You just have to remember it yourself and let that remembering inform every choice you make, every boundary you set, every moment you choose to honor who you are. Carol Gilligan wrote it beautifully. While an ethic of justice proceeds from equality, an ethic of care rests on the conviction that no one should be hurt. That includes you. Because you're not defined by whether someone chooses you. You're defined by the deep knowing that you matter, to yourself most of all. The right people will feel that energy and be drawn to it. The wrong people will feel that energy and move away from it. Either way, you win. Because you're no longer living your life as an audition for someone else's approval. You're living it as an expression of your own truth. Was there a moment when you stopped waiting to be chosen and started choosing yourself instead? I'd love to hear your voice in the comments. Share a moment when you remembered your own worth or when choosing yourself made all the difference. And before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you won't miss more gentle, powerful insights on love, emotional strength, and living with wholeness, especially in the chapters beyond 60. And I'm Vernon. Thanks for watching my video.